Shall we begin?
Why would a good God allow suffering to exist? Does God really exist?
Let's begin now.
Why did God command the deaths of so many people in the Bible? Why does God remain so hidden?
Let's begin now.
Welcome to the Third Degree. My name is Dr. Tony Costa, and I'm here with my friend, Pastor Sule Prince, and we have a special guest with us today, Sandra Solomon. Welcome to the Third Degree, Sandra.
Thank you. It's an honor for me to be here.
Sandra, earlier we were talking about Sharia law, and you were discussing how that is the law of Islam. In Canada, is Sharia law compatible with Western Canadian values and democracy?
No, Islam, it's not, the Sharia law is not compatible with the Western democracy. However, many Muslims in Canada, they play something called a taqiyya in Islam, which is permissible or halal for Muslim to deceive and lie for the infidels until they got what they want. It's from the Quran. You do not take the unbeliever as an ally beside Allah unless you're doing a taqiyya, unless you are lying to them, you're deceiving them, because once they are a minority, they have to play the taqiyya, the deceiving, until they become majority and in the position to take over fully the whole country. Then they will implement the Sharia law on people. So that's what's going on, not just in Canada, all over even Europe. And many people are buying this taqiyya and they play the victim card. This is important because as well in the Quran, the Christian and the Jews, they will never take you or love you. That's what they teach us until you become one of them. So we grow up when we're young as we are the victim and the infidels are our enemy and they want to kill us. And we have to, that's why many imams still today, they pray, oh Allah, give us victory over the unbelievers.
And that's what they're praying today.
That's what they pray today, here in Canada, everywhere, in every mosque. So that's why they grow up with the victim. We believe that we are victim, and we have to lie to the infidels, even if we're smiling to their face or like pretending that we love them, but we have to hate them in our heart and curse them.
And where does that come from? Is that the Quran or is that the Hadith? Did you say that?
This is both, from the Quran and the Hadith. That's also one of Muhammad's teaching when he was in Mecca. For the 13 years, the Muslim have, technically there's two Quran, the Meccan Quran and the Medina Quran. So the Meccan time when Muhammad was in Mecca playing taqiyya, telling people, oh, I am a prophet, you have your religion, I have my religion, and all that, no compassion in religion, it's okay. Islam is peace and all that, what they say now. Of course, they have to say it this way because they're still minority. Once they become majority, then the Medina stage, it will take over, which is the establishment of Islamic State. Because Islam, it's a state, it's not religion.
Okay, so let me ask you, under our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, we see that there is migration happening of Muslims coming in here. Yeah. And we see under now Donald Trump, he has put a ban on 7 Muslim countries. What is your feeling about that?
I think Trump, he's doing the right thing to protect his homeland. And I liked about Trump the nationalism. Like he feels for his country. He always talk about protecting his people. And that's what we're missing here. We're having government who's fighting us, not fighting for us. And Trudeau, he turned his back to Canada, Canadian. And all these countries, they banned the Israelis and the Jewish people are banned from these countries. And no one make big deal about it. But when Trump did it, they make all the, all the fake media, all the propaganda that he's a racist and all that. So why not talking about the anti-Semitism against the Jews?
So let's clarify. You're saying that there's a ban of Jews in these same 7 countries?
Same 7 countries.
That,
all banned,
that were banned by Trump?
Yes.
They
They're
banned
banned.
Jews from going
Yes,
into that country.
they're not allowed. Exactly.
So why are people rioting, protesting this?
That's what the taqiyya is taking over people's mind. They think the Muslim are the victim.
Oh.
They play the victim card and taqiyya. Islam is peace. Muslim will never harm you. They're here, to integrate with the system. And Muslim have a history. They don't know how many black people are being slaved to the Muslim throughout history as well, especially in Africa. Many, they always say Islam is it's a black people religion. It's not. Actually, the word abd in Arabic means slave. They still call the black people are abd, means slave.
Wow.
Till today, the Muslim, they call the black are abd, that means slave. So when black people think Islam, it's a black people religion, it's not.
Wow.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia recently deported 40,000 Pakistani Muslims out of the country on the basis of fear of terrorism. And yet it's quite interesting that there was no media outcry, there was no protest, and it seems that Saudi Arabia was being Islamophobic by throwing all these Muslims out of the country. Yet there is no voice being made about this violation of human rights.
Of course, because Saudi Arabia got the oil, got the money, and many betrayers throughout all the UN and the governments in Europe, all over. There are so many betrayers. They give it out to them, and not mentioning about the threat that we're facing here. There is many people, like when they do this is not immigration, this is invasion. And for Saudis to turn their back on these Pakistanis, they're protecting their lands, but they're sending all these terrorists through this what's so-called immigration or hijrah between these people to actually commit or to implement Sharia law.
We did an earlier show on the motion that they're trying to put forth on M103, and this is Islamophobia. What do you think is the real thing that is happening behind that motion, and how do you feel about it?
Islamophobia, actually, the word itself, it's invented. There is no such a thing called Islamophobia. Like when you say Christianophobia or Biblephobia or Jewophobia or all this kind of, it's irrational fear. So when people of course they have the right to protect their countries, we need to call it concern, not phobia, not fear. We don't have fear, we're not afraid, but we have concern about our kids, our young girls to be molested sexually, which has happened already in Canada. And the honor killing already took place in Canada, and you have the right to be concerned. And also, whatever the Muslim they're trying, this is their card, Islamophobia and all that stuff. And yet, what about the Christian and the Jews, what they are facing in the majority Muslim countries, right? So all this one, M103, it's a step to Sharia law, which is called the blasphemy law. And whoever, as what happened to us in Saudi Arabia. There is a guy, his name Raif Badawi. He lost his family, his wife and kids here in Canada. He's been flogged openly in Saudi Arabia just because he thought about doing the liberal Saudis. This is under the blasphemy law. That's Sharia law, blasphemy law. So I have a concern, not just for the unbeliever or the kafir or the non-Muslim, also for the Muslims themselves. The Shafia girls, they've been killed here in Canada, honor killing, because they wanted to break through and they've been westernized. It's going to silence the Muslims who wants to escape Sharia law in Canada. So it's going to affect them too. I have feeling for Muslims.
So you think this is just the first step to implementing Sharia law here?
Sharia law, exactly. They're saying, we are here. Our system is being infiltrated with the Muslim Brotherhood. And there's so many evidence for that. And many Canadian imams, they talk about so many things here openly. I'm going to tell you about it. And so that's the beginning. And they're on the path to implement Sharia law. And many imams already said it. Canada will be implemented by Sharia law when the Muslims are majority. And that's why they're bringing all these big number. They want number, because in Islam, to grow in number, this is a big thing for them. And you have to do hijrah. It's a must for Allah and Muhammad to make the da'wah propagating for Islam, like what Muhammad did when he went to Medina. They are following they are follower of the steps of the founder, Muhammad. They're doing exactly. And one more thing, if we're not going to understand what happened 1400 years ago, we will not going to be understand what's going on today. That's the key.
And the hijrah, of course,
The
is the
hijrah.
migration.
It is a migration.
Right.
But who's persecuting these Muslims from in Middle East? Who? Nobody. The Sunni and the Shia killing each other.
Yeah.
So this is not hijrah.
Right.
Like they're not running for, like they are the cause of this war. As I grow up as a Sunni, we grow up that we have to hate the Shia and we have to kill them. And the Shia, the same thing. So we're going to have also the conflict between the Sunni and the Shia here in Canada.
So what you have explained to us about Sharia law and women,
Yeah.
we see here in our society, this Western society, they're chanting, oh no, Islamophobia, no, let them be free. So if they bring this over here, this idea, it's going to affect women here.
Of course. As I said, many girls, include the Shafia girls, they've been killed for so-called honor killing. This is implication of Sharia law. We know it as a name, as the honor killing, but it's actually Sharia law. Because under Sharia law, the guardian has the authority to kill his daughter, his wife, any woman in his family if they brought shame.
Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.